In Las Vegas, approximately 35 million people try to become rich every year, but most of them fail to achieve this, which is why they follow cheating. Every day, cheaters look for new ways to beat the system, and this is what Las Vegas State Security is working to limit. Every time the cheater thinks he will get away with it, he is arrested by state security. And this is what prompts the police there to raise the challenge even more. During the next few minutes of today's video, we will get to know you and one of the most dangerous occupiers in this field and shed light on the most prominent tricks he used to win. But before going into the details, we invite you, our dear viewers, to press the like button and the subscribe button, as well as activate the bell feature to receive everything. What's amazing? Cheaters have been around since gambling began in the United States, and in the Old West, it was cheating. Today, there are thousands of cameras monitoring every table, which means cheaters must be more vulnerable than ever before. Says Mark Link, one of its members, a syndicate for detecting cheaters in one of the casinos, which confirms that technology never ends, and that the biggest challenge for them is to continue playing the game of cat and mouse. But from time to time, a fraudster comes along who can bypass all these procedures and get away with it by escaping the radar. Tracking the largest fraud that has passed through the states is the work of the Nevada Board Game Control Syndicate, and a copy of the FBI's most wanted list for a book under the title The Black Book, which was written in 1960. Cascoper, who is considered a member of the syndicate, says that in the beginning, 6 people were placed among the writers, who were originally set to be organized crime figures, would never be allowed into a casino. But as the old gangsters died, a new generation of tech-savvy cheaters emerged and were added to the list. Cooper also says that there are currently 38 people. Most of them are professionals who cheated a group of casinos before they were arrested. Currently, the police are in conflict with 2 parties: electronic machines that are easy to hack and professional cheaters. In the state of Las Vegas, there are about 120,000 gambling machines. That is, a rate of 1 for every 5 people in the state. Since the early days, cheaters have tried to trick the machines by using slugs or coins attached to a string or chain that can be pulled out again. But now the machines have become more complicated for them, and Carmichael, who used to work as a television repairman, is considered one of the biggest fraud professionals in this field. For more than 2 decades, Carmichael and several other fraudsters were designed to make millions from the slot machines in the state's casinos. And all the machines you see today were designed against what he was doing. Carmichael is 62 years old today, and he once gave an interview to tell people about how he scammed the Las Vegas casinos for years. He said that whenever he wanted to do or go on vacation, he would go to one of the casinos and do his job. The story begins in Carmichael's television repair shop. There, one of his friends called him to tell him that he had discovered how to make a machine to hack some machines. That machine was what he called the upper and lower joint, which consisted of 2 parts. The lower part was made of a short piece of guitar wire, This piece draws current from the machine's circuit board and sends a low electrical force, which passes through the device's slot, then the upper device, which is a piece of metal in the shape of a 9 that is inserted into the coin slot. And this is what completes a sufficiently strong electrical circuit to activate the pipe that distributes the money. Then the coins flow out. Carmichael's friend was making a lot of money from this trick, while Carmichael was still dreaming of achieving several things to no avail. Here Carmichael decided to enter into the operation. So he traveled to Nevada to try his luck with his friend's device. And in the year 1980, while the cameras were not able to detect his activity, Michael sat in front of one of the machines and inserted the upper and lower joints. And suddenly, he got an influx of coins, and this became his new job, which was to cheat in Las Vegas. Then Carmichael began moving to Las Vegas whenever the opportunity allowed him. He says that from each machine he would withdraw about $75. And if he worked hard, his income would reach $3,000 per day. He also continued that he would spend the whole day there and leave his store to one of his friends to manage it. He also continues that after months of moving and returning, it became clear to him that his store was no longer making a lot of money. So he decided to close it and move to Las Vegas permanently to be close to his new workplace in the Monument. Carmichael began to live in prosperity as he met new friends there. He says that the magic of Las Vegas makes you spend as much as you earn. Cooper, a member of the Gaming Machine Supervisors Syndicate, says that Tommy had found an innovative method at that time that was helping him earn a lot. So he continued with it, and it seemed to him that it was worth the risk. Tommy says that he was having fun when he did the operation, but there is one part that always makes him careful, and that is the people around him. Whenever he got close to taking a step, he would turn his head to see if someone was watching him. To avoid suspicion, Tommy would not stay in one place. Over the course of 5 years, Tommy Carmichael would visit him, all the casinos in Las Vegas. Then, in the year 1985, the administrations of some casinos discovered that there were those who were stealing money by using the upper and lower joint device. Here, the machine manufacturers responded and modified them in order to reject any external device that touched the machine. Valves were placed for the machines. It blows slowly, and if someone tries to trick it with wires, an internal fuse will explode and electrocute him. Then quickly, these machines spread throughout all the casinos. Here, Tommy realized that this was the end of the source of easy money, and in order to continue the scam, he must look for a place where the old machines still existed. On the 4th of July of the year 1985, Tommy was caught cheating at one of the slot machines. After his arrest, the police, in agreement with the Gaming Machine Control Syndicate, found several devices in his possession, which proved that he was using them in his fraudulent operations. He says, Case Cooper said that cheating is a felony punishable by up to 6 years in prison, and in the end, Tommy was sentenced to 5 years in prison because of his involvement in plundering the money of a group of casinos. And although several people, when they end up in prison, they were looking for jobs there to secure their lives. But Tommy was not like that, and he was even planning a big fraud to come. Tommy says that he got to know many prisoners there who were also playing gambling, and Michael was one of them, a professional criminal. And his crime was fraud and deception of the casino industry. Carmichael and Balsam realized that they had a lot in common. There they began to develop a plan to be implemented when he got out of prison. 2 years later, exactly in the year 1987, Tommy Carmichael was released on parole, which was to stay out of Las Vegas forever. But it seemed Carmichael had no intention of complying with the order he received from the authorities, as Tommy continued to travel to Tulsa to appear at the police department and then return to Las Vegas to complete what he had started years ago. Tommy was scouring all the casinos in search of old machines. He was also waiting for his new friend Balsamo to leave after the meeting. In all the casinos he had previously been to, he found that everything had changed, and now he had to create newspaper tools that could trick the new generation of slot machines into working. So Tommy developed himself by posing as a casino owner and began going to the actual manufacturers of slot machines, gambling and pretended as if he was trying to buy these new machines. Then he convinced the sales representatives to open the machines and disassemble the things inside them. And after many rounds, two things became clear to Tommy. The first was that the option of connecting wires to the machines would not be possible, and secondly, so that he could study this new machine, he finds a way to overcome it. He must buy one. And the problem now is that the slot machines cost $8,000. At a time when Tommy was unemployed, in addition to his friend Balsamo, who also got out of prison. So he decided to work together to collect money. So he then made trips to he traveled around the state of Nevada to search for old machines, so that he could extract money from them. And within less than a week, he was able to purchase the machine and begin work. Tom had the ability to disassemble the machine, extract all the features of the machine, and develop techniques to avoid them. Then Carmichael quickly realized that the new generation of machines has problems. He discovered that the meter that releases money can be bypassed using the small switch located in the depths of the machine. And with the meter not working, the machine will continue to throw money. But Carmichael must now also design a tool that can access this switch, which is not easy. Tommy says that it took him 6 months to come up with something new, which he called the slider, which was about 11 inches long and was tested, and it could pass through the opening of the machine, and once the slider was inside the machine, it had to slide under a secondary safety door and then turn around 10 degrees to engage the small switch. But if Carmichael designed an instrument with a fixed curved extension, it would be suspended on hundreds of wires inside before reaching the door. This problem might halt the duo's plans. But Tommy had a solution, as he threaded piano wire through the instrument he had, so that he could set it after passing under the door, and finally succeeded, as it says that the machine, after you enter the device, will pay you, but it cannot stop until you remove the device. With the new device, Carmichael and Balsamo went back to work separately and began targeting casinos across the country. Carmichael says he was making $1,000 an hour, and thanks to the new device, Carmichael and his friend were making profits 10 times faster than they had before. He also enjoyed spending the abundant money he was earning. But in the year 1989, Kazan and Hattie came up with a new tool that played to their advantage: surveillance cameras, which had become of higher technology. And with this, all casinos became able to monitor cheaters with complete ease, and the camera began to monitor all aspects of the games, including the machines. In this case, it seemed important for Balsamo and Carmichael to avoid the cameras first, as Carmichael was able to evade punishment for nearly 2 years. But in 1990, a probation officer noticed that Carmichael was behaving strangely in front of one of the slot machines. So they contacted the agents of the Nevada Group Control Board for the games, who monitored Michael's steps to his home and monitored him. They were trying to wait for him to leave and go to one of the other casinos and catch him red-handed this time. But fortunately for him, Carmichael was on break for a few days, and over time the casinos would discover the latest conquest designed to protect the money counter. Overnight, Michael's device became useless. Tommy did not give in to this when the casinos overtook him, but instead went out once again to create a device with which to regain his activity. Carmichael says in one of his interviews that when he is asked if he regrets what he was doing, he answers no. I think that in the year 1990, Tommy Kermick is still ready to cheat again. But the problem is that the old meters have been replaced with mechanical meters that operate with the latest optical sensors. Once the meter calculates the required money, it stops its deduction when that limit is reached. Carmichael came up with another device that has a kind of lighting, so that when the coin passes through the counter, it lights up the device. So the counter does not count that coin, so it passes without the machine's knowledge. Jerry McCling says that as long as the light stays on, the meter will not close until all the money in the machine runs out. So Carmichael named his new machine the Light, and this time the game changed in his favor, as Carmichael knew that he could make a lot of money outside the casino by selling units of his new device, as each one cost him $3 to make, while he sold it for $12,000. So Tommy Carmichael began to make more and more money, as Carmichael's skills posed a great danger to the casino industries, because he was sharing the idea with many people who were using it to their advantage, and they steal thousands of dollars every day. Carmichael was not satisfied with the money of Las Vegas only, but his tools invaded Reno, Lake Tahoe, Landing City, and Biloxi, and due to his arrival in several places in a short period of time, Carmichael also became active in the acquisition of alcohol and some illegal substances, including, if many people were using the same tool, it is possible that one of them got stuck in the slot machine and was abandoned, and this is what happened, as it was found by casino workers who handed it over to the customers of the control panel, the Nevada Gaming Group, who were able to design a video in which they show the casino owners how it was done. Their money was stolen, and how their machines were hacked. The repairmen were able to develop the machines again, but not for long, as Carmichael was able to develop his own light device, and thus he was able to solve the problem again and return to work. In the year 1996, he was arrested for the second time, as surveillance employees saw him. Cameras, and they reported him as they noticed that Carmichael was inserting something into the machine, and then the money started falling, and it did not stop until he took his hand out of there. Carmichael soon learned of the matter and hid the device, but the officers continued searching until they found it to prove the crime against him for the second time. But nonetheless, he was not punished, as he had a good lawyer who claimed that the device did not belong to his client, while the public prosecutor was unable to confirm this, as the surveillance cameras on the machines were not well enough to show exactly what happened, and the Las Vegas authorities could not arrest him. After his parole period expired 4 years ago, exactly in 1992, he escaped the charge, but despite that, he remains under the surveillance of agents of the Nevada Gaming Group's control board. Perhaps he will make another move, and it will be his last. Michael continued to work on several other devices throughout the years, and finally, in 1999, he sold them to his friend Balsamo, who decided to go away and plunder all the major casinos in the United States of America. He then made trips all over the country for this goal, but after 3 months, he was arrested. The light stick he was using that day was confiscated and handed over to the Federal Bureau of Investigation to begin an investigation by agents who searched Balsamo's call log until they found several incoming calls from Las Vegas, Nevada. Following that, the Bureau's agents, accompanied by control panel agents, arrived. The Nevada Gaming Group tracked Tommy Michael's calls, and after a period of work, the authorities learned that Tommy was preparing to conquer the financial world with a new device and would try it out soon. He was speaking fluently and did not know that it would be his last day free and that the authorities were eavesdropping on his calls. The machine manufacturers also learned of all of Michaela's machines, so they by designing a new model of machines that are based on the principle of remembering. Beverly Griffin says that the souvenir machine, instead of giving you money when you win, gives you tickets that you can exchange for things from the casino or get money. Now Michael's light stick has become useless, which is the one that is placed in place of coins, because the new machines do not have a slot for coins. Here he bought that machine again in order to understand its complexities and to find a way to deal with it like the old slots for the machine. The machine still accepts bills and coins. So Carmichael invented a device to fool the slot machine, which he called the tongue device. Carmichael was able to design the device based on taking advantage of a flaw in the design of the machine's optical counting system. After placing the coin in the machine, the coin passes through a series of 3 lights. But Tommy discovered that he could fool the meter was done by moving a tool back and forth across the 3 lights. Thus, the meter would not be able to count the money that had passed from there, and in a few seconds the device was giving him approximately $100. Carmichael was calling a group of his friends in order to offer to try the device on them. And he still knows the authorities are monitoring his communications, and they were following him everywhere and following everyone who was handed the device. Now the FBI must act quickly, and when Carmichael decided to travel to Atlantic City, in order to make some currency sales, coordination was made with the policemen there who they were waiting for his arrival. So he was arrested in the year 2000. He was sentenced to only 11 months in exchange for showing how all the machines worked, which he had used for many years. As technology developed slot machines, he was able to overcome them, and despite that, many cheaters still use these machines. Designed by Carmichael, the most famous of these investors is theft. Michael Balsamo taught his entire family how to use these devices. In Las Vegas, his wife, Stephanie, and her mother, Lovana, were spotted learning how to steal the machines. It was shown on cameras that they were using a light stick in old casinos that had not upgraded their machines. Through the cameras, it was revealed that Stephanie was the one who was stealing by using devices, while the mother, Lovana, was placing a large bag as a form of concealment from the cameras opposite her. Despite this, she would look back and then take out some device from her bag and put it in the machine, then return her hand to the bag as if he was searching for something. For more than a year, the Balsamo family continued to steal and live a luxurious life. And on April 28, 2006, the two women came to the attention of the Southern Nevada authorities, where, in less than an hour, they obtained significant sums of money in 3 separate casinos, separated by only 10 meters. After reviewing the clips filmed by the cameras by agents of the Nevada Gaming Group's control board, they had sufficient evidence to convict them, and on the 5th. In June 2006, they were arrested and sentenced on a number of charges, the most prominent of which were manufacturing and possessing cheating devices. In 2008, the trial took place and Lovana was convicted of shading, while Stephanie was sentenced to 20 years in prison at the time he was released. About Michael, after he paid his bail, he disappeared from the place and traveled to Argentina. After searching for him, the police received reports from his family members stating that he had died. However, the authorities did not trust these allegations because they knew of the fraud that characterized Balsamo. Away from Balsamo, Tommaker Michael returned to Oklahoma City after being released from prison, forbidden from entering any casino in Nevada ever again. As for slot machines, they are renewed every month to become more secure, as slot machines today are computerized on their own computers, and in order to be able to cheat on them, you must be an expert and a computer hacker. And without a doubt there is someone like Carmichael to try to find a way to overcome them. Tommy Carmichael and Michael Balsamo, and more issues. For 2 decades, they have been defrauding casinos. And there is no way to determine exactly how much they stole, but experts believe that the amount exceeded $1 million. In a newspaper irony of fate, Michael was the mastermind, who has now been exiled to the city of Toza. He is not finished with Las Vegas yet, and he still has a plan. Another is to develop a device to serve casino owners by detecting cheaters, but it was rejected because of his bad past with inventions. One of the investigators says that Tommy Carmichael would have been rich if he had served society with his skills. Will that be the end and this cheater surrenders, or does he still have a lot up his sleeve to surprise casino owners and be able to through it? Money can be obtained in easy ways, or is there a new generation of occupiers on the way, who in turn will work to invent many different ways to defraud and deceive the casino machines in Las Vegas? Waiting for your beautiful comments and constructive criticism, we bid you farewell, our dear viewers, with the hope of meeting you in an upcoming video with an exciting and strange real story.